I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it.
Hello amigos. Welcome to Move It Movie. As today's movie porter, we are introducing an American action thriller film, Nobody. It's a film cooked up from some overly familiar ingredients, as well as the blood and bullets. There's challenged masculinity, the Russian mob, a cute pet, some noirish voiceover etc. yet casted, along with hardcore Henry directorially and Nice Huller on vibrant form, finds a way to make it all feel oddly vital. There's a simple, shaggy charm to watching Hutch rediscover his particular set of skills, kicked off by a fantastically well-designed bus sequence that sees him scrappily take on a group of obnoxious younger men. He's an imperfect yet resilient fighter, believably hampered by age, making him a character far more thrilling to watch than, say, any one of Neeson's no-stakes superheroes. It starts with a home invasion, in which two bottom-level criminals rob the Mansells of some spending money and a few trinkets. Hutch has the drop on one of them, golf club raised in the air, but he doesn't take the chance at elevating the violence, much to the disappointment of his son and disdain of his dude bro male neighbor. When it looks like the invaders may have taken poor Abby's kitty cat bracelet, Hutch snaps, tracking them down to retrieve it. However, Nobody is not really a Death Wish-esque story of an average guy turned vigilante. There are hints very early on that Hutch isn't just a normal suburbanite. Even his man cave seems laid out to hint at a different background than your neighbor, including a radio through which he speaks to his brother Harry, who is in hiding. Why? And what's up with the box of fake IDs and money that Hutch's father David, acted by Christopher Lloyd, has been storing away? When the bracelet retrieval job goes a little sideways, Hutch is on a bus heading home when he encounters a group of obnoxious drunks harassing a woman who's on her own. He takes it upon himself to protect her and essentially starts a violent war with a Russian crime lord named Yulian, acted by Alexei Serebryakov. The bus scene that initiates the real action of Nobody is the kind of action choreography work of art that will have devoted audiences applauding at screenings for years to come. It's a clever piece of filmmaking that starts with Hutch throwing himself into a few awkward exchanges with his new enemies and continues to elevate, almost as if this encounter is awakening his skill set one punch at a time. Choreographed by the team behind John Wick, it's the type of action scene that people will be mentioning with a smile for a long time, and a reminder of the adrenaline that a film can get from a creatively crafted action scene. Other than a scene that sets up Yulian as a psychopathic villain that runs a bit too long, Nice Huller is smart enough to use the momentum from the bus scene to push through the rest of the story. Nobody is an incredibly quick film, an experience that feels nowhere near as long as its 92-minute runtime. One could argue that the movie could have used a bit more prologue that would make Becca and their children into characters instead of functions for the plot, but there's a tightness to Nobody that's often lacking in modern films, one that's reminiscent of the economy of the John Wick flicks, which is one of that trilogy's greatest strengths. Then there's Odenkirk. Watching Nobody a second time made it easier to appreciate how much he brings to a role that someone could have easily sleepwalked through for a paycheck. This would be a much lesser movie with the current king of the paycheck performance, Bruce Willis, for example. Odenkirk deftly sells both halves of Hutch, making both his current family life and his violent past believable. It's a smart performance, which should come as no surprise to fans of his work on Breaking Bad and Saul, but it's also a wonderfully physical one in that he makes the stunt work and fight choreography genuine. The supporting cast is strong, particularly RZA and Lloyd, both of whom know exactly what to bring to this project, but it's Odenkirk's film through and through, and he nails it. Unsurprisingly from the director of the insanity that is Hardcore Henry, Nice Huller has a habit of overplaying his stylistic hand every now and then with slow-mo montages set to unusual music choices. And there's a version of the film that feels like it has higher stakes no one ever really feels in jeopardy here, at least John Wick had the dog. But Nice Huller ultimately gets what matters here right, giving a talented actor an unexpected vehicle to drive really fast with just enough bloodshed for action fans, and not too much gore for average audiences. It's the rare modern action film that makes me hope it does well enough to produce a sequel. People also think there's potential for a crossover, John Wick vs. Nobody, project that would make roughly $1 gajillion worldwide. Nobody works because it values scene construction and action choreography above all else, leaving behind pretension and the overplotting that's been common in the genre in recent years. It doesn't break any molds so much as present a really good time within a familiar structure. After a year with too few action movies because of the shelving of the blockbuster, Nobody gives viewers an adrenaline rush that almost feels new again. The escalation that follows, which dominoes one good deed into one savage fight into something far greater, helps Nobody avoid the storytelling by numbers trap that so many revenge films often fall into, mimicking a video game with the hero going from one end of level boss to the next. The fight scenes are also awfully effective, a jolt of brutal violence captured with a specificity that allows us to keep up with every punch and kick, a base level competency that so many action films fail to master. Perhaps the film's greatest ace is its relative lack of smugness, Kalstad's script briskly racing ahead without wasting time to stand back and remark on how smart and ironic it all is, quips kept to a minimum, a lesson other action screenwriters could do with learning.
Why didn't you take him out?
I was just trying to keep the damage to a minimum.
Yeah, how's that working out for you?
You okay? Because you don't look okay.
There's a long dormant piece of me that so very badly wants out.
What are you still doing here, old man?
It's been a hell of a day.
You can see that.
For 12 years, I worked for some very dangerous people. Everybody get to the basement.
What is happening?
Don't call 911. I used to be what they call an auditor. The last guy anyone wants to see at their door. Because it meant you didn't have long to live. But I left it behind to start a family. Hey! Hey! I might have overcorrected.
When you left, you abandoned a certain debt that needs repayment. And your creditor is aware of your resurrection.
They came after my family.
They stole my kitty cat bracelet.
And you don't do that. Give me the goddamn kitty cat bracelet!
You look like shit, Dad.
You should see the other guys.
Who are you?
Me? I'm nobody.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it.